Hey everyone, it has been a while. We've been busy. So if you're joining us for the first time, I'm Mandy, also known as the Board Gaming Pinup Girl.
And I'm Michael, known as Pollum.
And today we are going to be doing a live playthrough of London Dredd. Ooh, publisher is Grey Fox Games and Plotmaker Games. And this is cooperative, so hence the reason we have a slightly different setup today.
Yes.
And we're playing on the same side of the team.
Yes.
But before we get to the game, just to give you a little background, you can get a hold of me or find me on YouTube under To Die For Games. I do some reviews and whatnot there. Also on Facebook. I'm on Twitter as the Board Gamer Pinup Girl, on Instagram as the Board Gaming Pinup Girl, and I'm also a Dice Tower contributor with the bi-weekly Dice Tower podcast.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I am on Instagram as Pollum, P-A-W-L-O-M, Twitter as Pollum21, and here should be from now on every Monday night at 8 o'clock. Now that we've had our vacations and conferences and stuff out of the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So as we said before, we're going to be playing the game London Dredd. It's cooperative, and I'll pass over to Michael to let you know a bit more about the game.
Yeah, we are definitely going to be trying to work cooperatively. Not only is this cooperative, it is also real time. There's a section of the game that will be done in real time. I think Mandy just likes throwing stress games at me.
Millennium Blades,
She'd like seeing me freak out at Millennium Blades. Even though I pulled off the win in that game, I was stressed the whole time. So here's another real-time game just to see me get all stressed. There will be a 12-minute portion that is just going to be real-time with us trying to plan everything out. Basically, it'll be a programming section at that point. So I'm going to try and get as much explanation done up front. Normally, I like to kind of explain as we go along, but because it will be in real time, we won't have an opportunity to check to see if there's questions in chat or to stop and explain different things because that clock's going to be ticking and I'm going to be stressing.
So basically, now's the time to get your questions in, get your...
Yep.
We have a comment. Aw, yeah, Dice Tower, finally, congratulations.
Yes.
That's, who is that? SOTPC. Oh, well, thank you so much. I'm like, we're getting new faces or names on here, so thank you. I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, so I'm going to try and get as much of the explanation done up front as possible, so it'll be a little more front heavy with the instructions. And because I want to show you the cards that we'll be using and trying to find, I'm not able to actually set it up ahead of time. So we're going to go through the setup as well. I'll walk you through the setup. And then there'll be a portion after the real time where we can then explain what we've done and how we then carry on from there. And then at that point, it'll be a more calm progression. And it's just that 12-minute period that it will freak me out.
So just before we continue, for people who are new, and I probably should do this more often, so Michael is basically the one who's going to carry through the rules of the game. We're going to play together, and if I interject here and there, just possibly to explain a rule maybe a little bit more, and I will also be monitoring the chat. So if you have questions, I would be the one that be looking here, and then I'll relay them to everyone here. So.
Yeah, and normally with the setup that we would have for any other gameplay, we'd be on opposite sides of the table. Right. I've got the laptop controlling the program for the stream, which I'll be switching various scenes through. So that's why I'm looking over here for the laptop. But normally we have everything basically within eyesight of the camera, so we can be looking at you guys while we're doing stuff. So yeah, with this setup, we're kind of going to be looking to the side to do stuff, but we're still paying attention to you. Okay. So to start with setup, basically it's very story driven. There's five stories in the game that you can play through, and they are replayable. It's not like some games where once you know the story, you can't play it again because everything does get randomized. Yes, it will be the same story, but how you get to it is going to be randomized each time. So we start with the story cards. So with the game that we're playing, or the story we're playing, we're going to play through the letter, which is the first one they suggest you play when you're learning the game. There's only going to be one chapter to it. Every other story actually has 2 chapters, but that would be a little bit longer for the stream, and you'd go through 2 12-minute high-pressure, real-time sections, and then I might explode. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to grab all the cards for the chapter. So here's an example of the antagonist card for the letter. All of the cards are going to have this symbol for the chapter that we're playing. So I've already grabbed everything for this chapter. And the antagonist, let's see here, I'll switch over to the overhead so you can see what I'm doing.
Yeah, there we go.
So the antagonist card is going to go in the antagonist spot. I'll show you the front of the antagonist card. This is going to be the end game. So in this case, the antagonist for this story is a pagan ritual that we'll end up having to do. And it shows you a rule specific to this story. In this case, the witchcraft symbols are going to be wild. I'll explain that after, but that is only going to be for the end game, not during the actual game itself. Right. So keep that in mind. Next up, we are going to look at the challenge cards. Each chapter has 6 challenge cards, and again, they have the symbol that corresponds to the story we're doing. Those are going to go into the plot deck. Then we've got the plot cards. There are, for the letter, there are 5 plot cards, and they've got A through E on them with various text. So you want to stack those so that A is on top, and when you're going through them, you're going through in alphabetical order. And between those, you're going to have a card called End Game, because the end game will be those challenge cards, and then ultimately the antagonist.
Right.
So those will also go into the plot spot. All right, after that, we've got the dredd marker is going to go on the dredd track up at the top of the, can you see that? Yes, you can. So at the top of the board is the dredd track. We want to keep that as low as possible because that's going to give us the end game goal. The higher it is, the harder it's going to be, but I'll explain how that works later on. Just keep in mind, we want that as low as possible. So it starts on 0. That's great. We want to keep it there. All right, after that, we've got, there's card organizers that you can throw in because a lot of the cards, even though there's different decks, they're all going to have the same back. So they all have this back with the London Dredd letters there, and then 2 of the Dredd symbols, and that's relevant for a reason. But multiple decks will have those same backs. So to help you organize which are which, they give you these organizer placards that you can put out to organize which decks are which without having to actually look at the cards themselves. Now, because of space restraints with the camera, we're just going to be throwing them off screen, so don't worry about those right now. So after that, we get to choose our characters.
Yep.
So we've already got our characters picked out. I am Jacqueline Degas, the starlet.
Yes, and I am Maria Contarini, the nun.
Now, they do have some backstories that correspond to their
Are you talking about their character?
personality deck.
Yeah.
Yes. Each character has a personality deck. 1 in 6, they're all 6-card decks. 1 in 6 is a trauma card. It's sort of like their weakness, and it corresponds to their backstory. Now, in my case, my sister is missing, and that is the weakness card, lost sister. So that if that comes up, bad things are going to happen for her. So we have our character, we have our personality deck. What else? So we've got, and we have medallions that will represent us. Now, normally you would have the medallions standing upright on the board, but with an overhead shot, what we're going to do is we're going to try and play with them laying on their side so that you can actually see them better, and you'll know where we are. So we're going to be starting in the west of the map. And we also get 1 virtue token.
Yep.
That gives us a one-time ability, and there's ways to get more virtue tokens, but here's my player card. It shows you 2 of their base stats plus a wild, and then the virtue token for myself is another wild, whereas for Mandy's character you get
2 of the dove.
2 of the doves.
Yeah.
And then there's other personality traits here, and these are the cards that are in our personality deck. So it shows you the various breakdown of the symbols, and I'll show you what those symbols are for later. But we each have a different distribution of the various symbols, and there are 9 symbols in the game, 6 primary and 3 secondary. All right, after you've done that, then we've got our action clock and the tokens that we're going to be using. So what we're trying to do in this game is we've got the map laid out. There's going to be 24 cards, 6 cards in each section. We're going to be traveling to those cards trying to resolve them. And we're doing that using these tokens. And you can see we've only got 2 of each number, so we have to be careful how many we use and where we use them. because your movement is also using the arrows on the back. So I can only visit the number 1 location twice, and then I'm out of ones. Each section, so for example in the west, has numbers 1 through 6, north 1 through 6. So you can see what you're doing is I would go to the north and then 1. So I'd have to use a 1 to do that. If we end up running short, we do have spares over here, 1 set of spares, but every time you take one of these tokens, it reveals a dredd symbol, and that increases the dredd track. So ideally, we don't take those. Many ways to increase the dredd track, very few ways to decrease it. All right, then what else? Make sure I'm not missing anything here. Item deck.
Yep.
So there's an item deck. For this scenario, we do start with the Book of Spells out. So there's the Book of Spells, and it's got that witchcraft symbol on the bottom, which, if you remember from that antagonist card that I showed you, I keep looking over there because I'm so used to the camera being over there. I want to talk to you guys, but I'm used to being over there. If you remember, the antagonist card has that symbol being wild for the end game. So this can be very important, but we need to earn that book. So that's going to be set aside for now.
Yep.
And then we get 1 each at random.
Curious to see what I get.
1 for you, 1 for me, and then there's going to be 3 set up for the supply.
Yep.
Excuse my reach.
No problemo.
And voila. All right, after that we've got confidence cards. So these are cards that are going to help us with our investigations. So there's going to be an investigation deck on the board here. It will originally start with 3 of these cards, and these cards are going to have, I'll show you one before I shuffle it. The confidence card will have 4 different symbols across the bottom. So we will need those symbols in combination with the symbols that we have innately for each character. We will need those symbols to be able to resolve the cards that are out on the map. But we don't want to be burning through that deck because it only starts with 3 of these. Yep. We're going to try and get more cards in there as we go along. And then at the end, we want to have as many as possible to be able to get dice to resolve the end game. I won't explain that yet. But we start with 3 of these in the investigation deck. And the rest set aside. All right, so now we're going to fill the locations. Now, there's a different setup for 2 players because we're going to have half of the potential moves that a 4-player game would have. Normally, you're going to have 24 of these cards that need to be resolved. So here's one as an example, and I'll tell you how you resolve these cards. I'll show you a simple one first. So Feat of Strength. If we were to reveal this card, I'll go through revealing in a bit. To resolve this card, you can only use the bull symbol, and you need to get 2 of them to be able to resolve it. If you get 2 of the bull symbols, then you get that card put into your investigation deck. If you don't resolve this card, then the 3 skulls here, those are the dredd symbols. So those are going to increase the dredd meter by 3. Right. And it only gets worse from there. So I'll show you, here's another one. This one's a little worse. Now this one you need 4 symbols, but you've got more to choose from. So there's 2 primary symbols and 1 secondary symbol. And as long as you have a combination of 4 of those, you resolve that card, it goes into your investigation deck. But if you don't resolve it, that's 4 more dredd symbols that go onto the dredd track. So, like I was saying, normally in a 4-player game, you would have 24 of these cards that need to be resolved out on the map. Because we're only playing with 2, there are ally cards that are going to go out. So an ally card does not have that same penalty. Here's an example of an ally card. So it does state that it's ally. If you get this into your possession, then it provides a benefit. So in this case, he'll give you 2 doves. Or at the bottom of the card, they will also give a deplete ability, which is a much stronger ability, 1-time use, and then he's gone. So we're going to have 9 of these allies, along with 10 of the other cards that we need to resolve. So that's 19, but there's 24 spots. The other 5 are going to be these plot cards. So it's the same back as everything else, but it just says plot on the front. That's what's going to pull out those 5 A through E plot cards that I mentioned. So the way you start that setup is we need 1 for each of the 4 areas, so north, east, south, and west.
Never eat shredded wheat.
Absolutely.
Is that American, by the way, or Canadian?
I'm pretty sure it's Canadian because I learned it as well.
All right, just throwing that out there.
Maybe it's North American.
I'd be curious to know, actually.
I didn't mind shredded wheat.
I love shredded. It was great.
All right, so the allies and the other cards are shuffled into one deck and then distributed evenly. Not quite. Hold on.
Nope.
Missing 1 card. So that 5th plot card. So what I'm doing here is I'm setting up 1 plot card for each of the north, east, south, and west, each of the directions. That 5th card then gets shuffled in, so we don't know where the 5th one's going to be, but we need to try and reveal all 5. So I'll shuffle that one in. All right, now we'll have a total of 24 cards. And then each direction will then be shuffled. So again, we don't know where that symbol or the plot card is.
Here, you can pass me some of those.
Sure. We'll do that for east. Needs to be shuffled first.
Oh, we didn't shuffle it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I thought you shuffled it.
Not the individual. Oh
cards. Boy, this should be interesting. So I'm not as not as quick. And apparently nails are problematic.
Which will make it interesting during the 12 minutes of
I know.
flip all the cards.
Frantically trying to get the cards. I can't, my nails.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, great. So just before you continue,
Yep.
Tulsa's online.
Hello, Tulsa.
Yep. And I see dice. This can't end well for board game pinup. Well, if you've seen my tweets.
And by extension for me either, because this is a co-op game. So, yeah.
If you've seen my tweets.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Just go back in my feed on Twitter and take a look at the dice roll.
Yeah,
it was pretty poor.
It was a few weeks ago that we played it last, and I rolled 6 dice and got 5 successes, I think.
Yep.
So you just needed 2, and you were rolling 8 dice?
Yep.
And got, what was it?
0.
Oh, man.
So you guys are in for a real treat tonight.
So you're right. It won't bode well for board gaming pinup, but by extension, this is a co-op game, so
exactly.
This is the time, though, right?
Team effort. Team
yes,
effort.
This is the time because we're streaming it, so you're going to have a win actually online. Yes.
Exactly.
Okay. So we've got all of the locations filled, and I think that is it. We're ready to go. So,
all right.
I will now explain what we are going to be trying to do. Once that clock starts, and there'll be a bit of a story ahead of time as well, and I'll let the app, there is an app for this, I'll mention that. You don't need to play with the app. Any timer will do. You can see I've got a 12-minute timer set on the screen. I'll start that at the same time that the app starts. But the app also provides the narrative at the start of the game and some sort of hectic background thematic noise as well that kind of ramps up the stress levels, because that's just what I need, more stress. I'm already sweating. Okay. But yeah, any 12-minute timer will do. And the narrative is also in the storybook as well, so you can just read it out yourself. So what we're going to be doing, once that clock starts, we're going to start flipping these cards over. We need to find at least the 5 plot cards, because that's what's going to push the story forward. We have to get to each plot card. As we flip over one of those plot cards I was showing you, we will grab a plot card from the plot deck and put it on. So in alphabetical order, A is going to go out to the first one, B goes out to the second one. Once we have all 5, we can then decide, time permitting, whether we want to keep flipping cards. Now remember, I showed you the front of the card has those dredd symbols. And if you don't resolve them, you suffer whatever the number of dredd symbols would be added to the dredd track. If you don't flip these cards over, that's where I was saying the symbols are actually relevant. There's 2 dredd symbols on the back of a card. So if you do not flip these over, you automatically are going to lose 2, or you're going to take 2 dredd added onto the dredd track. So we need to decide, there's sort of a balance between how many can we resolve and how many do we have to leave face down? And it may come down to, we see enough that we think we can do with our abilities, we'll stop there, or maybe it's, there are still too many that are face down, we're going to have to keep flipping them, or we have to start with finding the 5 plot cards. Also within those 12 minutes, we will need to actually program what we will be doing during the resolution phase. So we start in the west. So what we'll do is we'll start revealing cards here, finding that first plot card. We know there's one in all 4 directions, and then there's a 5th one out there somewhere. So starting in the west, let's say I reveal a plot card at west 4. What I could do is I could put a 4, and we start at 6 a.m. I could put a 4, that shows, that's good, onto my clock to show that my first step at 6 a.m. is going to be moving to west 4 to resolve that card. Mandi's going to be doing the same thing, and we're going to be trying to work in unison. I won't be moving this during the actual timing phase. I'll just be plotting everything out. So let's say I went to west 4 and then west 1, and then that was all I could do in the west. Now there's something I need to resolve in the north. I need to take one of these numbers and use the backside as an arrow to show the direction that I move on that next step. Now that's one less number I have to use. So you have to be careful with your use because they are very limited. So that says I move north, then maybe north 5 has a card I want to resolve. I would put 5 in next. And we keep on doing that. Now the individual cards, the ones that were shuffled in, if you don't resolve them, you suffer whatever the dredd is, but that's it. That's fine. Whereas the plot cards have a stronger consequence to not resolving them. And those will actually come down to dice rolls.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Those will come down to dice rolls, and each card says on it what numbers of successes you need to accomplish certain things. And you can work together for any of these. Now, the individual ones out here, usually you want to try and resolve them yourself because we have a lot of ground to cover in limited moves. There are only 12 spots on the clock to be able to move around the board with 24 locations. But the plot cards, if you can both get there ideally, then you can help each other out. But you have to time it at the same time, because if I get there at 10 a.m. and Mandi gets there at noon, can't help each other out. So we need to discuss in real time where we're going to be and hopefully work it all out. After we've done all that, after the 12-minute, that's where we then go through and say, okay, 6 a.m., I'm here, where are you? And we work that all out individually. So that's where the stress is already done, and we see, did we get this right? And then we try and resolve them. Then after that, we go into endgame, but that I can explain later. So I think that covers it. Do you think I missed anything?
I think you got the stuff we need to. I mean, these will come up later, these sorts of things.
Yeah,
so we can get to it later. These sorts of things, we'll get to it as we
Yeah, those are going to be during the resolution when we actually work through what we've programmed.
Yeah, this is all after. So
actually, I will explain these because what we're going to be doing. So as I said, if I went to West 4 as my first step, I would put a token out to let Mandi know I've already got that card covered. So if I put a green token out, that shows up. I could put it on West 4, and again, that would be face up when I'm doing this. Mandi knows that's covered. She doesn't need to visit there to try and resolve it. If you resolve it using an item, and we haven't looked at our items yet.
No, not yet.
If you use it resolving an item, then you would put this beige token, which it matches the color of the back of the card. So that would let Mandi know I've resolved it, but I had to burn my item to do so.
Right.
And then another option is the red tokens, meaning again, I've resolved it, but I had to use the investigation deck. And that's a little more random. There are the confidence cards in there, but we don't know what symbols we're getting. When you use the deck, you shuffle it, and then you pull the top card and hope it has the symbols that you need. If not, you can keep pulling. But every card you pull is going to be thrown away, whether you've used it or not, and you do not want to be depleting that deck because you will need it at the end of the game. Lastly, we have one more white token, and that means you resolved it, but you had to use your one-time virtue token.
Yes.
So that is, it's powerful, but you only have one of them. Last thing I'll explain for the real-time portion is, again, we need to get to those plot cards, but we actually need to get to them within certain times. So I will show you the A plot card. In the top corner here, there's a rising sun. And that means that if you look at the clock, that plot card actually needs to be resolved between, over here, between 6 a.m., I'll pull back a bit, there we go, between 6 a.m. and noon. After that, then you're into afternoon here, and then night at the bottom. So there's 4 time slots for each of the 3 phases, and the cards will need to be resolved based on the symbol. You need to be there at that time. Otherwise, you're going to suffer dredd based on what the card says. So I'll give you that example again with plot card A. If I got there too late, so if I didn't get there in the morning, I'd be taking 4 dredd and then trying to resolve it, and maybe even suffering 4 dredd again, which again is not good. We want to keep that as low as possible. So those ones need to be at certain times, and ideally we get there together.
Right.
Okay.
Are you ready? Ready to
One
rumble.
more drink.
This is the part people are paying to see.
Okay. Let's see what we have for an item.
Yep.
I have a ceremonial dagger, which provides a gun or witchcraft, which is great at end game because, again, that's the witchcraft symbol will be wild, but during the game it will just be itself. And that is if I use it. So I would exhaust the card, and I am within camera there, so you can see that. I would exhaust the card. That would refresh once we go to end game, so I would have further uses of it. Or there is a deplete, which is 3 wilds. Very strong, but then I have to throw it away.
So I have 2. I was going to say cog, but it's probably machinery or something.
I think it's tech.
Tech. It's
Yeah.
always tech or machinery in games. I can
think.
never remember, but I think you are correct. So if I just use it, I'll get 2 of those. However, if I decide to discard, it's 4.
Yes. Now, like I said, there are 9 different symbols we're looking to get. We are just going to use what the actual picture is.
In real time, I don't have time to think of technical names.
I think the snake, let's see here. This is the snake Guile, and the peacock is maybe charm. Real time, we're not going to remember all of those terms. It's just, there's a snake, there's a peacock, there's a dove,
We can review
there's
them
a
after,
lion.
but
Yeah. We'll know what we're talking about instead of trying to remember what the actual symbols mean. All right.
All right.
I think I've covered it all. I know it was a lot up front, but
We're in real time, so
yeah,
unfortunately
we're in real time,
we won't be able to talk during.
Exactly.
If anybody has questions, now's the time.
Now is the time.
It's after. All right.
Okay, I'll get the app ready. So there'll be a bit of a story to start. We get to listen to a story, relax a bit, and then as soon as the story is done, clock starts.
Get her done.
All right. And I'll hand over the mic to the storyteller.
Yep.
Here we go.
Story 1. The Letter. Chapter 1. Unconventional Allies. It's early morning, but you've been awake for hours. This is not the time to sleep. Your cause is too important. From the open window, you take in the vast, busy city of London. Pedestrians and hansom cabs bustle through the cobbled streets, and the air smells of manure and freshly baked bread. The smog hangs thick in the east, and the sky is pregnant with rain. This morning, an anonymous letter was delivered to your doorstep. It contains only a short message. Visit Mr. Arthur Raynaud at 21 Curzon Street, Westminster. Time is of the essence. The name doesn't ring a bell, but the letter intrigues you enough to want to pay the man a visit. You pick up your coat and venture out into the streets of London.
And yes, we didn't hear the dong. Okay.
No, it didn't go.
It did not. Okay,
right.
but yes, clock
go.
is going. Okay,
All right, so
I'm going to start flipping cards.
Okay, do you want me to start?
Oh, and there's the first
No,
clock.
first one. All right, I'll flip down here.
Yep. We'll try and go. Oh, there's the second one.
I already
if you want to
flipped that
grab B. Yep, no, that's fine.
Sorry, what do you got? B, yep.
Yep. Let's go east next.
Okay.
So we'll keep flipping until we find a plot card.
Oh, these darn nails. There we go.
So throw C on there.
Yeah.
And then I'll start checking north. There we go. Can you grab
Excellent.
D,
Yeah.
please? Now we need one more.
So do you want to try? Well, there seems to be a lot over there.
There's a lot here, yeah. Now here's the thing. If we flip over too many, we're going to have to try and resolve them. Oh, boy.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Do I finish it?
Might as well.
I might as well.
No.
Okay.
How about up there?
All right.
There
it is. Okay. Now that's not bad because D and E are next to each other.
They're close, so it works
so
out.
let's start with, we need to end on north 4.
Okay.
So at 4 a.m.,
Yeah.
let's start with a 4 there.
Okay, because that's where we need to end up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now we'll need to move north, but
Sure.
we've got our end point, and I'll try not to explain too much because this is real time. Okay.
So now,
Do we want to resolve any more cards? Do we want to flip over any more?
I mean, that's a lot that are face down that we're going to take dread for.
It is.
But
It could be worse.
Okay.
And that's just it. You take 2 dread if they're face down. You might take more if they're left unresolved face up. All right, let's start working through it.
let's just go with this.
So
Okay.
for plot A, we're looking at owls and lions.
So I have
none.
lions as one of my
Just
strong
one,
suits in there.
eh?
I just have the 1, but I also have the wild. Don't know if I want to waste that.
Now
really,
we do
but-
have an ally here that provides 2 lions.
Okay,
So I could go there and grab that ally first.
because then you can take that.
And what do you have? Lions and doves?
Lions and doves, and there's nothing there that has that. What do you have for
Okay.
yours? You have
well,
the
then
snakes, though.
you go to the ally. So
Okay.
you go to 5 first.
So I got a 5.
And I'll do something that I can actually resolve.
All right, so we'll go to there. So that's
I'll go to the journalist to
Lorraine
kill
East.
some
That's 6
time.
a.m., right?
6 a.m. Yep.
5.
So I'll go to 6.
Okay, and then we need to put,
So I'll go to 6. I can resolve 6
Yeah,
straight
and
up.
I can do
And you
that.
can grab that.
And then is
There is another ally there. One thing I will say, you can only have 3 allies maximum. You'd have to throw any away if you take more. And that is a bull. I don't have bulls.
don't have bulls either.
Okay,
Oh,
so
boy.
I'd say at this point, let's just go straight there and resolve that.
The one at the
next.
top, yeah.
The
And that
the
has
plot
a looks
card,
like
so
an
it's
owl. The owl.
2.
Is that you? No.
No, but we.
Do you want to do it together?
Yeah, we'll
okay.
go there together. So that's going to be at 8 a.m.
And then what else do we have remaining?
I think that's it for the.
But there's an ally there, eh?
There is.
But then we're leaving ourselves short. But I'm looking at the board, and it seems owl's
well,
going to
we
be
need
up
to
here.
do B between 2 and 8 p.m. Oops,
Right, because
hold
of
on.
the sun.
I put my first one at 4 a.m. First one should be at 6 a.m.
6 a.m. I was
Yep.
going to say, because 4 a.m. is where we end, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh no, right, because that's where we're ending.
Yeah, that's where we're ending.
That is where we're ending.
Okay.
Why am I questioning myself? Okay.
I was like, you were right.
Yes. Okay.
So, okay. I'm just, okay. Oh.
One of us could grab that.
I'm just trying to see if it's really
That's a
useful.
good ally.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it useful for us to have that? Because there is something up there, and that's a rolling one, isn't it? Yes, it's
Yep.
one we have to roll for. Oh, boy.
Okay. Well, this is the next plot card. We've got a couple steps to get there.
But at least this one we can kind of do. We could do this one together if worse came to worse. You would have this one on its own because you have it.
I have.
Right, and I have this.
You have doves, right? And you could even get 2 more with
Correct. With my
Okay. Well, do you want to grab that then?
So I can take that. So that is 1.
1.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, I will go
And-
south.
Do that.
So when I move south,
Yep.
I can. So you're going to go south after that. So that
After
you can
my
get
1,
here.
yeah.
Yep.
So I'll have to see what token I'll use,
And
but for now we'll just throw something
I
there.
will go to.
I'll use a 3 for now.
I will go to the grand ball
Okay.
because I can resolve that. So I'll put a 5 here. So 5.
You could do this one too.
It needs 4.
Because
It
you
needs
have.
4, and I'll have.
I
oh,
can.
I was doing this one.
I know
No,
I'm
you were
taking
doing
that one.
You were doing that
So
one.
I can come down because I'm coming here anyway,
You are,
and then I
but
can.
you're already 1 step behind me. Because right now, 2 p.m., I'd be moving here,
Right.
and you would as well. Right? Because noon, you're just moving south.
Right.
2 p.m. would then
Would
be
be
going
doing
here.
this.
Or I flip over some cards to see if there's something else I can resolve.
Ooh.
But if you want to do that, I can't just sit there doing nothing.
No, especially because I don't even have half the symbols that are there.
Okay, let's just do that then.
Okay.
At 2 p.m., we're going to 2.
So 2. Okay.
And that was my last 2.
Okay. Me too.
Okay, so I think that's going to be everything in the south done. So after that, how we do it
Except
for
for
time?
this one. So this is the one
6
we're
minutes.
not doing, or we don't know what we're doing. I mean, we'd have to do it together. Really, is what it comes down
I've
to.
only got one of the symbols.
I have. Yeah.
You'll have 2.
I'll have 2.
You'll have 2 with that.
Is this a plot
3
card?
with
No,
your
it's not.
no. So it doesn't have to be done.
Okay, maybe we need to just look ahead here and see what we have to do before we make any final decisions. There's a wild ally there. Should we not have potentially...
Now, keep in mind, the allies actually will not be in play at endgame, right?
No,
They'll be
I know,
discarded.
but I'm looking at... Oh, no, that's
And it's
that.
not wild
Yes,
yet.
it's not
Yeah,
wild yet.
yeah,
It's after.
yeah.
I keep forgetting that. Yeah.
How many allies do we have out? 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's a lot.
There's only 4. There are 9 in the game.
Oh,
So there might be some allies here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh. Huh.
Right? There's 5 allies out there.
So you're thinking we should
I'm going
turn?
to flip a couple of these just to see. That is not an ally,
No,
but you
it's
can
all the
resolve that.
symbols that I have. So
Yeah,
what's that?
You
That's
can resolve that.
so
You'll
do you
have 2 lions, and
Yeah.
you've got it
So
done.
I'm coming right down now here, and I'm helping you at 2. Did you want me to do 3 after?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And while you're doing that, maybe I could grab this ally. It is an ally.
Which is an ally.
I'll grab him at 1.
Okay.
Okay, now we
need to move on.
east.
So we need to move east. Oh, I have 2 6s.
I have 2 3s, so I'll go east with that.
I'll do that.
And we need to get to
Because we need...
C, and we have to
We
do
have
that
to
at
do
8
it there.
PM. Yep.
And that's
Okay.
you, because I don't have any of those symbols.
Well, you can still help me because you'll have the wild.
Sure.
So that is 3.
And I have no more 3s unless I remove one here. So I can take out a 3 here. I'll use a 5.
Well, you're working on that.
And then I'll put a 3. Oops.
C. How are we doing? We got just under 5 minutes.
Eek. Okay, so do 3
We're ending
there.
on 4. And actually, we're doing 3 before that because that's plot D, right? So 4 is 4 a.m.
Yep.
3 will be 2 a.m. So I need another 3.
I only have the 2 3s and they're already allotted, so it would be just you because I'm doing the 3 there.
Ideally, you help me because that is a plot card.
I don't have 3. I'm doing 3
Well,
here.
grab a 3 from up there then.
Okay.
Yep. If it has to be done, it has to be done. Because otherwise, that's 5 dread we're going to suffer.
Yeah,
right?
that's a lot.
And
Okay, so 10. Where are we now? So we're keep doing here at 3.
we need to move
Doing 3.
north.
Yeah. Okay. And what do we need to do up there? You need to said 3. We need to do. No, that's later.
3 and 4 we do at 2 a.m.
Right,
and 4
so we're
a.m.
fine
That's
there.
already
Yeah, yeah,
done.
yeah.
It's just a matter of we need to get up there. So maybe before that, I could. Can I do that? I have the
I could.
peacock
I can't even help. I have 2 spaces.
and a wild, so I've got 2. Oh boy.
Because we have to basically go from here and then move, right? So this has to be a move.
One of them needs to be a move. Yeah.
At midnight, probably. Okay, so, I mean, I can help you with 6. Because I'm there.
Can I do C alone? Snake, peacock, wild. I'd have 3 dice. I'd have 3 dice.
Because hold on, at noon I'm going down.
Because if you, instead of helping me at C, if you went, do you have any 1s left?
Yes.
If you went to 1, that would give you 2 wilds. Plus you'd have the dove and another wild
Right,
of your own.
to do that.
You'd be able to resolve that.
Okay, so where are we now? So going down.
So instead of east 3, do east 1, and then 6.
So east 1 here. No, sorry,
So-
here.
Yep,
Yeah.
instead of 3, 1, and then 6,
And then 6. Okay.
and then head north.
Okay.
I'll try and do that plot card myself. No guarantees that's going to happen though.
Oh, so you know what? Then I don't need this 3 anymore.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yep, throw it up there then. What do we got? 2 minutes left. Oh boy.
And then I'm going north, right?
So that leaves me with a 5 and a 6.
Okay. Oh, someone likes Studio B. I was like, what are they talking about?
I have a 5 and a 6 left. I'm going
Okay.
to look at one of these cards and hope it's
Aye.
an ally. Please be an ally. It's an ally. Excellent. So I'm
Oh,
going to go
thank
to
goodness.
north.
Oh, that's Susan.
Hey. And 6. Okay. So let's do this backwards. We've got a minute 40.
Yeah, let's go quick.
So 4 is where we end.
Right.
3 we'll be together. Right? Before that.
Yep.
6, I'm staying north. And then I'm heading north.
Yeah.
So
I'm north, but then I'm doing 6.
So that's 6 on the east side. So that is that one done. I'm doing that. I need to put these out. Okay. Well, I'm east. I'm doing 3 by myself, and fingers crossed I get it.
Yep.
You're doing 1.
1, yes. Yep, movement.
Okay.
And then I'm doing...
So then south side at 4 p.m. So you're moving it to 6. So 4 p.m. We're still both at the south. I'm doing 1. We're meeting at 2 p.m.
Yep.
Excellent. And I'll be doing 5 before that. I think at that point is where you're coming from from the west side.
Are we talking about?
Yeah.
Here. Okay. Yeah.
So let's see here. We've got 6 a.m. starting from the beginning. 6 a.m. I'm at 6.
I'm at 5.
Okay. 8 a.m. I'm at 2, and we should be there together.
Yeah, I'm at 2. So.
Okay.
I feel like we didn't. Oh, there's a couple we didn't address. Okay.
But
there's nothing we can. I mean, we don't
there's
have
only
it.
so much time, right?
It's this symbol we don't have. Well,
Yeah.
I don't have anyway.
I'm gonna have it up here, but that does us no good. I don't have time to move to the north
To get
and
there.
back to the south.
Oh, this
so
was
stressful.
a
Okay.
tough one.
And that timer is off. That's weird.
Yeah, that got a little weird.
Huh.
All right.
Okay. So. The clock is different. I'm a little worried that I might have chosen. I'm just going to try.
Uh-oh. Wrong mode?
I just want to make sure I didn't. I might have
like
chosen
extra
a
hard
different.
mode?
Yeah. Skip over. So that's fine. And then advanced end. Okay.
Okay.
And it's odd that I'm still not getting
Yeah.
the background noises. Anyway, we'll go without.
All right. Well,
It
that's
might
too
be
bad.
because I turned. No, it shouldn't be because that's off. Anyway,
All right.
we'll carry on without it. That just means it's a little less hectic. And I'm okay with that. Okay. I think we did okay here.
Yeah, I feel like this one is a little harder to. The symbols we uncovered.
Yeah, there were some that we just don't have. So, how did that look to people watching?
Craziness?
Did it look as crazy as it felt? Because it felt crazy sitting on this side of the table.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just going to come down to how we handle the actual plot cards.
That's right.
I'm worried about C because I'm doing that one by myself. I do have those 2 symbols.
Have anything to help you with.
Yeah.
This isn't terrifying.
Yes, exactly. It is. It is quite terrifying.
Oh, goodness. Okay.
Okay, we're good with that camera angle. I will just reset that so it's not showing that.
Yep.
Okay. So now we start working through it. This is a little more...
Okay, so before you head on,
Yep.
It looked good, but not sure what the tokens are used for. So we talked about it a little bit,
Okay.
but let's
Yep.
maybe recap
I
as
can
we...
do that.
Yes.
So we did only use the green ones because it does get quite hectic. But basically, they'll be even more important when you're playing, say, a 4-player game. Because what you do is, when you're saying that I'm going to resolve this card, so for example, 6 a.m., I say I go to 6 and I'm going to resolve that, I would put a token on it so that the other 3 players would know that card is resolved. You don't need to waste your time going there. And the various colors just mean I've used my item to do it, or I've used an investigation card to do it, or my virtue token to do it. But with the pace of the game, and really we're sitting next to each other and there's just 2 of us, we're discussing the whole thing along the way anyway. We're just throwing them out so we can see at a glance. We didn't resolve this one, we didn't resolve this one, this one, this one.
There's a few.
So with time remaining, we can kind of rejig. It's like, well, that one's going to be a lot of dread if we don't do it. We do have the symbols to do it, so maybe we should do that one. So it just lets you keep track of all the cards that have been resolved. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, you ready for this?
Yibbers.
So now we start working through the clock. We've got a pawn each, and I'll just call out the times as we resolve them, and we'll move our medallions around the board.
Yep.
So starting at 6 a.m.,
Yep.
I am going to 6, And you are going to?
5, please.
5. All right. So we can take these tokens off.
Yep.
Mandy's is quite simple because it's just an ally. So she gets that ally.
Thank you.
And again, you can only have 3 allies.
I'll put it here so you can see it.
If you pick up any more, you have to discard one. Now mine is not an ally. It's a card I do need to resolve. So I'll show you. I'm not going to keep showing all of them, but I'll show you one. So the journalist. This is a little more simple, so it's a good one to start with. It needs the snake, which I do have. So I'll show you with my actual player card so you can see what's happening here. So at the top of my player card, you can see I do have the snake symbol. So that's what's on that card. And I do have a wild as well. And this card needs only snake symbols, and it needs 2 of them. That's what the number at the top is. So I can use the snake symbol and the wild to resolve that card, and that's it. It's resolved. That is now a card that goes into our investigation deck and is another snake symbol that could then be used if we pull it from the investigation deck. So that'll go on top.
Personality. Oh yeah, that's just for plot cards.
That's just for the plot cards. And more importantly, that is dredd that will not show up on the dredd track. So again, looking at that card, if I did not have the symbols to resolve that, that's 3 dredd that once we finish resolving everything will be added to the dredd track, and that's no bueno.
Correct.
So throw that over there. Okay.
Yes.
8 a.m.
I'm at 2.
Hopefully you're joining me at 2.
That is
So I'll
correct.
put our tokens here. Let's go away. So this is the first plot card. So again, I'll show the plot card. Now this needs to be resolved with dice.
Dice.
So the plot card is using these 2 symbols, but the symbols, you're not looking for a total number of symbols. It's just the number of symbols that you have is the number of dice you're going to get to roll. And I haven't shown the dice yet.
Oh boy.
If we do not resolve this card, 4 dredd will be added to the dredd track at the end of the resolution phase. If we do, well, based on what we roll, there's results at the bottom. So I'll cover those when we get to our roll. I'll show you what we're working with for dice, though. That little punchy symbol, that's a success. That's a punch to the face of crime. That is a fail. That's a fail. That's a fail. That's a fail. So you can see odds of success are rough. There's only a 1 in 3 chance of getting a success on that.
My rolls weren't bad.
So you want to try and get as many dice as possible, and that's why you want as many of those symbols as possible, because that tells you how many dice you get. So looking at that, we're going to need at least 2 to be in the clear. 2 means we're fine. If we get more than 2, then we actually get good things. If we get less than 2, bad things happen. And that's going to come down to ailment cards or trauma cards that I'll show you after when it
we
happens.
Get
Yeah.
one of those. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's see how many dice we get. We want to roll at least 2 successes.
Oh boy.
Lion and owls, of which I have none.
I have lion and I have
You have
wild.
2 lions, right?
Oh, that's right, my ally, so 2 lions, excuse
2
me.
lions is good, and a wild, so that gets you 3.
3 dice I have, so.
So you get to decide who actually goes first. It's not resolved at the same time. You don't total the dice and roll them all. So what we can do is, Mandy's going to get 3 dice. We can see what she rolls, and then maybe burn through some resources for myself if it just wasn't good enough. So let's see what you can do. Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes. That's an easy one to forget. Yes. Our personality deck. So again, 1 and 6 in here is a bad thing. Everything else has the potential of helping. So we have to shuffle.
Yep. Oh boy.
Draw 1, and you hope you don't get your weakness.
Okay, what did I get?
Hey, I didn't get a weakness. Yay.
What did I get? Oh, none of the things we need.
Not helpful,
but not a weakness.
Hurtful, right? So I'll show you the one I've pulled.
Oh.
So I pulled my resourceful card, which adds a bull and a snake. And again, if you look at your character card, that's what's listed down the side here, are the various cards that you can pull and the symbols that each of them have.
Yep.
So,
well, that wasn't useful.
Bull and snake, not useful, but again, not hurtful.
Yep.
I'm okay with this.
So I have to tell.
So you've got 3 dice. You want to start with that?
Yep.
All right.
Oh boy. I'm trying to think, where's the best place to roll this so I can get some good stuff?
The way you roll, garbage can. Boom,
Oh,
2 successes.
that's
Look
right.
at you, nice.
And
So, we're in the clear. If we can get at least one more success, then we're going to start gaining random items, which is great. But I don't think that is worth me burning through a virtue token or grabbing off the investigation deck. So
if we can get by,
all I have,
I would take that.
All I have is just my one wild. So
I mean, it's worth a shot.
I'll give it a shot. Yep.
Ha!
Hey, nice.
Look
All
at
right.
that.
So gain a random item. If it says random item, then we just take it off the top of the deck.
Yepers. And
we can decide who it goes to. If it actually said gain, if it wasn't random, just gain an item, we'd get to pick from the 3 that are face up.
Right.
So what do we have here? We have a tarot deck. So its base use is re-roll up to 3 dice you just rolled. Okay. And if you roll no successes, discard the tarot deck. So its basic use could become one time if you're really bad at rolling dice. And then its deplete use, so its one-time use, is a character at your location may ignore a trauma just flipped and play his or her talent.
That's a good card.
Instead. That's not bad.
That's strong.
Would you like it?
Yeah, I'm probably the one who needs it more.
Right. So you can get the tarot deck.
Oh, goodness.
All right. So that is resolved.
Excellent.
Now I'll read the back. There is some flavor text at the back. And this resolves around the story that we were hearing about. In the study, you find Mr. Renault's dead body. The place shows signs of a violent struggle, and from a number of articles found in the shambles, you conclude that Mr. Renault was an archaeology professor of international renown. Somewhere in the scattered belongings, you notice a cheap, cluttered notebook that clearly does not belong. Inside the book is a pawn shop receipt. So with what we just got, which was 3, you conduct a thorough search and find something of use, and that's the item. That's the tarot deck that we found. You pocket the notebook and leave Mr. Renault's residence. So we carry on into the story. We can remove this from the board now. So that's 4 dredd that will not be added to the dredd track. Woohoo! Oh, we'll set these aside.
Yes.
Put them over here.
Alrighty.
Okay, so now we carry on. So that was 8 a.m. So 10 a.m. I'm going to the south.
I'm at 1.
You're at 1.
Which is an ally, I believe.
Okay, it is.
Perfection.
So I'll hand that over to you.
Thank you. Just do a little slippy slip over here.
I'll get these out. We don't need these anymore, so I'll get those out of the way.
Okay, perfect. That way I can do this.
And take a swig.
Before we move on.
All right. Good?
Yep.
On to noon.
So noon I am going
So
southbound.
you're going south, and I was already south. When you move, you need to move from one direction into another. So you're basically moving to the streets. It's either west streets, north streets, east or south. You can't just go west 2 to south 5. You have to move the direction first. So I'm in the south streets, and then at noon from there, I then go to 5. So Mandy's made the move south. Her next move will be one of these locations. So this one is the Grand Ball. Using just peacocks, which I do have, I need 2. So with my peacock and the wild, resolved. So that is gone.
Perfect.
And into our investigation deck. So there's a benefit there. 2 p.m.
I'm at 2.
As am I. So we will both move here. And this is plot point B, the pawn shop. So we had that pawn shop receipt that we found in his office. So we're going to go check out the pawn shop to see.
Oh boy.
And we are here within the correct time. So again, looking at a plot card, this one needs to be resolved during the daytime. So it needs to be resolved between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. And we just got there at 2. Perfect timing.
Nice.
And we're using peacocks and doves. Now we need...
And potentially something from our deck.
We need at least a 1. We need at least a 1 so that bad things don't happen. I have a peacock and a wild.
I have a dove and a wild.
Dove and a wild.
And we have our personality decks, which may yield some results. May.
May. Now, if you get your trauma card instead of one of the other 5 beneficial cards,
that's not so good.
It actually states on it that you contribute nothing. Now, what that means is your base symbols do not come into play.
Yikes.
You can still use your virtue token. You can still hit the investigation deck. You can still use items. It's just your base symbols. But your base symbols is what you plan around. So to get that card that says you contribute nothing, it just... I suck. Like, yeah, that just feels awful to not be able to contribute.
Right.
So let's do that first, and I guess plan around that.
Exactly.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Not bad. Not good.
I feel like I just got the same card. I'm a terrible shuffler.
There was one play where I kept getting the same
That's
card.
true,
And it was
actually.
my trauma card, and that's not good.
Mine's a bull and a dove.
So I've got snake and an owl.
So gives me an additional dove.
Well, that's good.
Which is great.
So at least you did get one of them.
Yeah. So, I
So
got
how
some
about you
extra.
go first then, because you've got
3 in total.
yeah.
1, 2, 3.
All right. Go for it.
Alrighty.
I'll play cleanup.
1.
One success.
Okay, it's something.
That's fine. That's all we needed to not
Contribution.
have anything bad happen.
Correct.
And we'll get an item. If I get one more success, we'll gain 2 items. And again, it doesn't say random, which means we get to select from what's
would be
face up.
Great.
If you ever go beyond what it shows on the card, so in this case, over 2, what you get is more confidence cards thrown into your investigation deck, which is hugely beneficial. But again, I don't think it's worth burning anything to try and get. Right now, we're at a success. So I do have 2 because I've got the peacock in my wild, so I'll get 2 dice. I'll take. I want these 2.
Oh my goodness! Look at that! Wow, we are legitimately on a roll.
I'm a little worried about what the end is gonna be like, but
we're getting
okay,
rid of all our good
I'll
luck.
take that. So you got 1, I got 2. That's 3. We're gonna gain 2 items, and a confidence card goes.
Fabulous. So we're getting
into the
2
investigation
random or
deck.
actually
Nope,
2 items?
we get to pick. So what do we have? We have a peacock or 4 peacocks.
4 confidence.
A lion or 4 confidence. Wow,
That's pretty strong.
quite nice. So is that.
Yeah. These 2 seem to be calling my name, or our names. Huh.
Well, whenever you pull a card from the face-up display,
You do get to draw.
you then refill,
fill.
so we can see what the next choice is. If you don't like any of them, you can pull from the top of the deck. But if you do that, you wipe what is available in the display and put 3 new ones out afterwards. So you want to make sure there's nothing there that you want, because if you do, take it. Otherwise, it's going to be gone.
Like right now, this is not going to be helping us that much.
Not now,
But this
but
would be
later.
very helpful.
Yes, adding 4 confidence cards to the investigation
Correct.
deck, massive. So let's take that. I'll take that one.
Yeah, I think that's good. You
Okay.
take that one. We do a refill.
Actually, who needs lions?
There's
Let's
only
look
one
ahead.
up here,
And we're both doing that.
and I have 2. I have 3.
Okay, so
And
in that case, it doesn't matter because we're both doing that one together. So that's fine.
Yeah.
I can take that one.
so let's refill here, which is Diamond Cross. So it gives you 2 of the skulls.
So it's 2 the witchcraft, which will
Witchcraft.
be wild during end game.
Right.
What are the...
Roll 4 action dice. For each success, gain 1 virtue token.
Not bad, but I don't like random.
No,
I don't like random for
I
getting
want
stuff like that.
certainty, especially at this point.
All right, what's the other one?
Which one?
The other item.
Oh, here. So this one is 2 times witchcraft, or reroll any number of dice you just rolled. Useful for the end again.
I'd say take the holy water.
The holy water?
Yep.
Yeah. This is going to be useful for the end.
Yep. So you can take that one and then refill.
And Hella's other meatball is online.
Hello.
Looks like a scene out of Twin Peaks. I used to love that show. I know it's back on. Twin Peaks.
Is that up there with Matlock?
Yes.
I've never actually watched Twin Peaks.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it's when I used to watch back then, it's good. It's a bit different now, but it's good.
Okay.
Yeah. I clearly watch too much Twin Peaks. Yes, you do. That's okay. I used to watch a lot of Murder, She Wrote, and Matlock.
Yes. Good times, she wrote. All right, so where were we? We were items, so we'll...
There's a question
Yes.
from Needs of the One. Understand there are limits to number of allies you can have, but is there a limit to number of items?
No. 3 allies, but you can take as many items as you wish. Good question, though.
That's a very good question.
Yep. Okay.
All right.
So we've resolved that. We can remove plot card B from the game.
Fantastic.
This is good. Moving along.
All right.
So 4 p.m.
4 p.m. I
am going
3.
to 1.
And I'll be going to 3.
Uh-oh.
Oh, did I have a boo-boo? No.
Are you going to 3?
Yes, I think I'm going to 3.
Yeah?
We just
Okay,
didn't put a token on it. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, no, I'm going to 3.
And this is where there is still some tension. It's not the real time
because I ended
tension.
up using the 3, and I said I didn't need it, and we put it back.
Okay. Yeah, it's not the real time tension. Now it's to see did we actually do this correctly, because it's quite easy to mix stuff up. All right, so I can remove this.
That's an ally for you, really.
Yes, so I'll take that. My first ally.
Yep.
Jenkins, the brass monkey.
Ah.
I have a monkey. Excellent.
On your back?
Yes. Why not?
Sure.
Why not?
Yeah.
You're
so
going to the
3,
chapel.
but I have all of it. So I have an ally. I have 2 lions. I've got the dove, and I've got another lion.
Perfect.
And a wild.
So just needed 3, and you got more than
enough.
3.
So that one
Which is fitting, because you are the nun. That was at the chapel. Thematically, of course you got that done. Yes. And yep.
Okay.
Yep. Thrown into the investigation deck. That's one more card added. That's great.
Yep.
Moving on to 6 p.m.
And I move.
I'm going east.
East.
Okay. You're going east as well.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have 8 p.m. I'm going to 3.
Okay. I'll let you go ahead.
Right. The plot card.
I'm going to 1. Is that an ally? It is.
All right. I'll
So
let you take that first.
That, if I can.
I'm a little worried about this. This is the one that I wasn't so sure about.
Thank you. But I'm at my max for allies.
Okay, so I'm going to try a plot card by myself.
Oh dear, don't forget to, maybe you'll get a nice surprise on your deck.
Maybe.
That wasn't very strong.
Yeah. Yeah. You didn't say a good surprise. All right.
Un bon surprise.
So, plot point C. Oh, actually, before I carry on, I didn't read the flavor text at the pawn shop
yes, you
for
should.
plot point B.
Continue.
So we got more than enough. We had I think we got the 2 on that, right?
Yeah.
Actually, we had
no, with 3 on
we
that
got
one.
3.
Yeah,
we even exceeded
we did.
it. So, at the pawn shop, the receipt you picked up at Mr. Renault's has led you to a pawn shop. The owner is a nervous little man who dislikes strangers. Reluctantly, he tells you the items belong to a no-good ruffian working for a London crime lord going by the name of Calypso. You'll have to persuade the man to hand you the pawned belongings, which we did with our awesome rolling. Your charm works magic with the dry man. He hands over both items and even wishes you good luck.
Oh, all right.
So those would be the 2 items that we got at that location.
Yeah.
So now, we've carried on, or I have anyway, I've carried on the investigation. You're visiting churches and getting, talking with Miss Sparrow. Is that the last one you picked up?
Miss Sparrowhawk.
Sparrowhawk, yeah.
Yep.
So you're just having tea with people.
I'm trying to convert.
I'm over at an opium den, is where I am. Okay, I just need 1 to be in the clear at the opium den.
I was kidding, by the way. Just to be clear.
So snakes and peacocks, which is great because those are the 2 symbols I have, plus my wild would make it 3.
And then you need to draw.
Oh, yes.
And that could be
the random fun.
But it could be good. It could be good.
And like I said, that's where all the planning could go out the window with 1 card.
Pish posh.
Do you want to draw it?
Oh, wait, so then it could be my fault if it's a bad one? No, thank you.
Absolutely. No?
No, I'll let you do it.
Okay. Not a failure. It's not my trauma card, and
Go snake.
it's 1 more snake.
Woo.
So that is my sly card. The key to good eavesdropping is not getting caught. Indeed. Okay.
Be interesting if it spoke parcel tongue.
So,
Any
1,
Harry Potter
2,
fans in the
3,
chat?
4. I think I'll go with the 4.
Okay.
Okay.
You can do it.
This one, this one, this one, and this one. Got 2.
Okay.
That works.
And 2 is a success.
2 is beyond a success.
Ah.
Ooh, 2 is put a success on plot D. I'll get to that in a second.
Interesting.
So, I'm at the opium den. Calypso owns just about every drug den in the city. You have located one of his noxious caverns. Inside, a scattering of drowsy husbands, dandies, and ramshackle ruffians surrender themselves to the oblivion of the exotic drug. You try to blend in to learn more and manage to pick up the name Baker Brown, one of Calypso's lieutenants. You retrieve an exact description of Brown's whereabouts, as well as a few useful tips, and that's based on the roll that I just got. So, Excellent. I get to put a success on plot D. So there are these tokens.
Oh, that's good.
That is the success symbol. That is an automatic success that we get at plot point D. So we're already at 1 success and we're not even there yet.
Perfect.
So that's fantastic.
Darn tootin'.
All right. So that is now out.
Yep.
We're doing all right here.
I would say so.
That was the one I was worried about. Having
Yeah,
to do that
no
so
problem.
well. Okay, so we're on to 10 p.m.
I'm at 6.
I'm moving north.
I will be here at 6.
Okay, so now you're on your own.
All right, let's push that up a little bit. And let's see here. Oh boy, so I need a peacock, which I don't have. But I do have doves, and I now have the skulls, or the witchcraft.
Yep.
Which I have 2 of, actually.
So you need a total of 4.
So I have 2 of the witchcraft.
Yep.
As of right now, I have 1 dove,
That's
but
3.
I also have
And
1
your
wild.
wild is 4.
Yeah.
Done. So we get to add that to our investigation deck. Excellent.
That is off the
That
board.
grows.
Thank you.
Okay, next is midnight.
And I move north.
I'm going to 6.
Oh, and who's the drink sponsor for tonight?
Ah, yes. This evening's drink is Blacklist. I thought this felt somewhat thematic. This is very, very investigative and stealthy. So looking at the picture of this, tell me that guy is not a PI, right? Come on. It's a black German lager.
Very nice. It seems appropriate.
It is, yes. Shady, right? It works in the shadows. It's very dark. Okay, so you've moved to the streets. I've moved to the north, which was luckily, and I did do this right at the end, so I was pushing my luck, but it was an ally, so I get to just take him.
Okay.
And that provides 2 guns.
All right. Where was that what we needed?
Now, before we carry on, allies cannot be carried over into the end game. We actually do have to discard them all. But for every ally we have, we get to gain a confidence card. So even if they don't provide their actual benefit as you're resolving the various locations, at the very least, that's another confidence card that we get to add to our investigation deck, which is great.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to 2 a.m. I think we're both going to 3. I'm going to 3.
I am going to 3 as well.
Oh, okay. The pause had me worried.
Sorry. No, I
I'll
was
put
reading the cards. I was just reading the bottom. Put a dread card with the symbol. I was just reading the bottom. If you decided
what
to.
the discard ability was. Okay. This is the plot card that we have the automatic success because of the awesome rolling I did on the last one. Actually, I'm not going to say that because that's asking for trouble. So this is Baker Brown. We learned about Baker Brown at the Opium Den. We're now visiting Baker Brown. We're just confronting this head on.
Yes.
We need bulls, lions, and guns, and I didn't even notice that, but the ally I just picked up is 2 guns. That's fantastic.
And I have 2 lions.
Okay. Now,
2 lions and a wild.
this one is tough. We need at least 3 successes.
I have 3 lions and a wild.
With your other ally? Yep. We need at least 3 successes to be in the clear, so it's not an easy one, but we already have 1 success, so that is great.
Absolutely.
And sounds like you have a lot of dice, so if you would like to roll. Oh, yes. Okay.
You like to avoid that deck, don't you?
The random of, oh my god, I don't want to pull the trauma is very traumatizing. That's okay.
I'm closing my eyes because I feel like I keep picking the same card.
I guess you still don't want to pull mine.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Nope. Not bad.
All right.
Peacocks and doves.
I got peacocks and lions.
Not helpful. Lion is good.
Darn tootin'.
All right. Of course, my good Catholic card is not helpful.
Still and ask for guidance.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. All right. Well, it didn't hurt me. That's good.
So I've got quite a few things happening.
All right. Well, then let's start with you.
2, 3, 4, 5.
Do it.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
We've already got 1, so we need at least 2 more. That's the Mandi I know.
It's only just begun.
So 1 success.
That's unfortunate.
So we're at a total of 2.
Yes.
We need at least 1 more to be in the clear.
No pressure.
If we can get 2 more, then we gain that book of spells that I showed you at the start of the stream that has the witchcraft symbols that will be worth wilds in the end game. All right. Well, how many do I get? The ally gives me 2. I can use the knife. That'll give me 1 more.
Yep.
Because it does have the gun. And I can use the brandy. That'll give me a lion.
Yep.
And these will refresh once we're done this stage, and I won't need these anymore beyond this. So...
And you included your wild in that too, right?
I haven't counted that yet.
Yeah, you haven't counted that yet. Okay.
2 guns from the allies. 2, 3, 4, and then my wild will be 5.
And your card wasn't any good?
No.
Oh, okay.
Didn't hurt, didn't help. So 5 dice. All right. Seems to be working when I pick. This one, this one, this one, this one, and this one for 5.
So Hell's Other Meeple asked if, was this a Kickstarter? I didn't get it as a Kickstarter. I don't believe it was on Kickstarter.
If it was, I did not see it on Kickstarter.
Neither did I. So
I have backed other games by Grey Fox on Kickstarter, so they have been on Kickstarter.
Yes, they have. Like, I think Champions of Midgard was on there at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't recall London Dread being on Kickstarter.
I don't remember seeing it.
Not with, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
We'll investigate. Actually, while you're doing that, I'll investigate and see.
All right. Well, I'm rolling 5 dice.
Well, so I don't want to look, so I'm
hoping to get
investigate
just 1 more. Boom! 3 successes.
Are you serious?
Quite.
Oh,
so that's a total of 5. Whew.
So as far as I can tell, no, London Dread was not on Kickstarter.
I know the natural default is it probably was, because that's where our pretty much, well, a ridiculous number of my games come from, and probably a good chunk of yours too. So
I do. Lately, I've been staying away from Kickstarter. Although for the podcast, I do have to talk about Kickstarter.
I try to stay away, but that never works.
I know, I hear you.
Over 150 projects already.
Yeah, I'm not even close to that.
It's crazy. But it's fun to always have something coming in the mail.
It's like
I just got 2
treat.
delivery notifications that 2 more things are coming in the mail. And I know my mailman quite well. Okay, so we got 5 successes.
Perfect.
That means at 4+, we gain the Book of Spells.
Fantastic.
And because we exceeded the 4, 1 more confidence card goes into the investigation deck.
Beautiful.
All right. So let's read the flavor text of what Baker Brown has to say. Baker Brown runs Calypso's opium business in the area. A bodyguard of hired thugs protects him. You decide to scatter them. So with the roll of 5, you strike with military precision, destroying Brown's goons in a swift and bloody melee. After a short interrogation, Brown hands over a book wrapped in cloth. Engravings on the cover spell the name Arthur Renaud.
Oh boy. So
that would be the Book of Spells we just got.
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. 4 a.m. We're both going to 4?
Yes.
This is the final plot card.
Oh dear.
And the final plot card, and again, the timing for D and E were both night, so as long as we were there after 10 p.m. we're fine, and we were. If this card was left unencountered, meaning neither of us got to it, trail runs cold, investigators lose. That's it. Game over right there. You don't even get to end game.
Yikes.
Game over. Insert coin to continue. For each character here, gain 2 confidence. Then begin the end game. So that's it. There's nothing to resolve here. It's just for each character there, you gain 2 confidence, which with both of us there, that's a total of 4. So that's why it is great to get as many people there as possible.
Oh, is it 2 per or 2 total?
For each character here.
Each character, yeah, gain 2.
confidence.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
Oh, and supposedly you should whip out the sweet dice tray.
I actually wanted to do that, but there's no room for it.
Yeah, it's hard to...
I wanted to get the dice tower and dice tray out here, but yeah, space-wise...
It's a tight... It's lots of game.
Yeah. I had even considered throwing in a 4th camera to try and work that out, but yeah. I just didn't have the space to do it. Okay, so flavor text on this one is, the loft is cool and damp. A smell of incense and burnt blood lingers in the air. That's pleasant. All right.
Okay.
I hear it's nice during the summer. Mm-hmm. Okay. Plot card gone. So now we carry on to... now we're heading into the end game. So we need to look at how much dread is left on the table, right? Yeah. The things that we did not resolve and the cards that we did not flip over. So let's see here. Looking at the unresolved cards first, we've got 4 cards, and each of them have 2 dread. So that is 8 that will be added. So that goes up to 8.
Could be worse.
And those come out. And then looking at the ones that we flipped over but didn't resolve,
Oh boy.
one of them was an ally, so there's no harm, no foul there.
Mm-hmm.
The rest have dread. So we've got a total of 3, 7, 10, 13, 16, which puts our dread up to 24.
Oh my goodness.
Now, I don't know if you can see the symbols on the camera, maybe not exactly what the symbol is, but every 5 points of dread, you can see there's a symbol underneath. That is the success symbol with a number. So each time you go up by 5, that's another success that you're going to need at the end of the game. So right now we're looking at 5 successes required. If we go up even one more dread, it's going to be 6 successes required, and it just climbs. If you ever hit 50, again, game over.
Game is
you
done.
cannot continue at that point. Okay, so we are at 24 dread.
That's okay.
Get these out.
And we're going to have to get rid of...
We'll have to get rid of our allies, and for each ally, we get to add a confidence card to the deck. So 2 for me,
and I have
3 for you. That's another 5 added. That's great.
There you go.
Thank you. Sort those out later. And we do not need our clocks anymore. We can just throw
I was going to say
those
to
up
put
here.
them... Okay.
Because now we're just going to be doing a section down here. So the south section of the board is also used for the end game. There's a spot for investigators, antagonist, challenge deck, and then the first, second, and third challenge, which will actually be a little different for 2 players, but I'll explain the difference in a second. We still have our items, and those are going to refresh. So any that were used are available again.
Yes.
And now we get the end game. So
boy.
we've got that, the remainder of the plot deck with the end game card on top. We can remove that, and it's the 6 challenge cards. So these are cards that we will need to decide if we want to go up against. If we do, and we succeed at them, they're each an individual challenge, and we have to both resolve them successfully, not as a group. It will give us an opportunity to throw more confidence cards in and an opportunity to get more dice. So we start in a 2-player game with 2 dice.
Yes.
If you were playing a 4-player game, it would be 1 die per person, but because there's only 2 of us, we get to start with 2. Ultimately, we're trying to get as many dice as possible to go up against the protagonist, which is that pagan ritual. And again, right now we're going to need 5 successes, and we only have 4 dice, so it can't be done, which means we're going to have to try and succeed at these challenges to build up our dice count. So I'll give this one more challenge, or one more shuffle.
Yes.
Throw that there. That is our antagonist. That'll go there. And before we continue on, I will play the. I'll play that now. I'll play that now.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll play that now. So the pagan ritual, because we are setting this up, our investigators are going to go here.
Yes, this should be on the first one. Yeah.
Pagan ritual. You must stand together, maintain the chant, and complete the ritual. And at this point, that's where the witchcraft symbol. Actually, I can show you this one. So that's where the witchcraft symbol here is now going to be worthwhile when we go through these challenges and at the end. So I will play.
A little bit of the Snorre.
Yes. Grab my mic.
Hopefully it's behaving itself.
Hopefully.
Final showdown. The ritual. Making Baker Brown talk required some effort. Before he passed out, he disclosed the location of an abandoned loft. It turns out that Calypso's lieutenant is occupied with a demented breed of science and magic. Stored in a heavy chest, you find a collection of outlandish remedies. Animal bones, candles, a dagger, some cloaks, and a tarnished tome. The pages are vaguely intelligible, filled with strange signs and crude drawings. But you manage to piece together the outlines of a sort of ritual. Hungry for answers, you decide to perform it. With a piece of chalk, you mark the inscriptions on the floor as ordained, then light the candles and cast the bones. The bravest one among you slits their palm and spills the amount of blood required to begin the ceremony. You form a circle, turn your attention inward, and begin the chant.
Okay, so we're starting the pagan ritual.
Oh boy.
That's what's going to, and then there's an option within the app whether it is a victory or a defeat. So that's what we're going to start working towards, is to see what resolution we get from this. So actually, I don't know if anybody heard any of that because I didn't have my mic on. Yes, we're doing the pagan ritual.
Or as Tulsa says, the bacon ritual.
Yes. That I like. That I can get behind. I'd slip my hand for, well, okay, maybe I wouldn't slip my hand for that, but I've done some pretty weird things for bacon.
Delicious.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So yeah, someone couldn't hear you.
Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, so now we are going to be doing the pagan ritual, and the app has a victory or defeat option based on what the outcome is going to be. So that's what we're trying to do now, is hopefully get a victory for you to listen to. Again, at this point, we need 5 successes based on the dredd track. We only have 4 dice. That's impossible. So we're going to start doing these challenges.
Yes.
Before each challenge, we need to individually decide whether or not we want to push on. These are not going to be easy to accomplish, and we don't get to see what it is ahead of time. When we flip the challenge, we will have to take one of our cards from our personality deck, which may be helpful, may be hurtful, and then try and resolve it. And that's where we can use these. Actually, I will
give it a shuffle.
Give this a shuffle. We get to distribute these now.
Yes.
This is a good size investigation deck, so that's going to be quite helpful. And these cards will be ultimately giving us more dice for that final pagan ritual that we're trying to accomplish.
I'm trying to see if any of these can help me out. Give me more dice, but not exactly.
All right, so with this deck, we then split it evenly. I was the lead investigator, so starting with me, dealing 1 each. If at any point we use cards that give us more cards, those just go to whoever used the item. So for example, I have the brandy. That's gain 4 confidence. If I discard that, I get 4 confidence into my hand. So these are now open for us to use.
Yep,
9 apiece. So we get to look at these. So I will show you these cards again. So some of them are cards that we resolved out on the map. So for example, this is one I remember doing the journalist. It will give me 1 snake symbol. Not hugely strong, but it's something. Whereas some of the confidence cards have 4 symbols, and the witchcraft symbol at the end here for this particular story is actually going to be a wild. So that can be used for anything. So we've got
lots of good stuff.
Good mix of stuff to use here. This is good. This is good. Okay, so I will go into the first challenge, will you?
Yeah, might as well.
Again, with 2 players, it's a little different from 4. If you were playing a 4-player game, you would only do 3 challenges max, and then go right to the antagonist. With 2 players, we get to resolve up to all 6 if we wish. So we're both going to go into the first challenge. Let's see what it is. It is Voices from the Wall. So it's somewhat similar to cards that you saw out in the city that we're trying to resolve. It has the symbols we can use, and it has the number required to succeed. So no rolling, it's just you need to get to that number.
Right.
In your trance, uncanny whispers penetrate your mind. Now, I will show you as well, the cards that were out before had the dredd symbols on the side, and that was the downside, is if you didn't resolve it, that dredd would be added to the dredd meter. These are a little more punishing. They're a little more difficult and a little more punishing.
Oh boy.
So, at the bottom it says, if you fail, raise dredd by 4.
Oy.
So you need to make sure you resolve these. So you will be burning through your investigation deck. However, the success is add 1 of your action dice. So that's what you need. You need the action dice to be able to succeed ultimately at the final goal. So it's worth going for. Shall I go first?
Yep.
And these again, not cooperative. These are now solo. We both have to resolve this.
Oh,
personality? All right. So, yes, personality. Thank you. No.
Every time I think of that, it reminds me of that commercial. Cheese Whiz has personality.
Nope. There it is.
Oh, you got it. See, so glad I didn't pull that.
Here's my trauma. My lost sister. I just remembered. Oh yeah, my
no.
sister is lost. I provide nothing. And
Oh,
then I roll the
no.
trauma die. I was hoping I wouldn't have
Oh,
to explain
no.
what the trauma die was
Wow.
until afterwards, and I could say, so, something we never had to do. No, here we go. So the trauma die,
Oh no.
there's nothing good on this. It's called a trauma die for a reason. The best case scenario, add 1 dread. Next best case scenario, add 2 dread. Beyond that, there are 2 of these symbols. Let's go that way. It's an eye, and that is you become unhinged. I'll explain what these are when they happen. Not if, but when they happen. And then lastly, there's the blood splatter. That is you become injured. And again, none of these are good. So I provide nothing. I'll worry about that in a bit. I'll roll the trauma die first. And I'm injured. Oh man. No. Okay. Well, here we go. The physical strain of your quest is beginning to take its toll.
Oh,
all
boy.
the good rolling during the first portion of the game is going to start to catch up to us. This is where it gets a little more stressful.
Gets a
So
little hairy.
that's what the card looks like. And I'll read that out. If you would ever gain a second injured condition, instead raise dread by 5.
Oh jeez. That's what we need.
But that is only during the first portion of the game. We're at the end game.
Oh, okay. Well, there you
If this happens in the end game, do not raise dread.
go. Oh, well then. See?
Instead, you are defeated. That's it. Your game is over.
Are you joking?
I am not joking. Not right now. It's over.
Oh.
It's if I take another one
Oh.
of these. If I
I
take
had a heart
another
attack.
one of
I'm like,
these.
I'm sorry,
But the
what
thing
now?
is, that is now the downside.
Right.
Do we want to push towards these challenges? Because I might be out, and then Mandy would have to roll all these successes by herself.
And we all know that'll turn out.
So, do I have anything that would remove a condition? No.
I
Do
think
you?
mine is no. A character, yes. Oh, a character at your location may ignore a trauma just flipped and play his or her talent instead.
Okay. Little late because I've already resolved it. I've rolled
Right.
the die. But if that gives us an out.
Right, in case
If
it comes
I
up,
do it
at least
again,
now it's
not even
you've got time to
rolling the
deal
die.
with it.
Okay. So it's good to have that buffer.
Yep.
So that's part 1 of the downside. Part 2 is I provide nothing. And if I do not succeed at this, raise the dread by 4, which
Which is increasing.
it's another success required. So I need to succeed at this. Now, providing nothing, again, means nothing from my base. So I don't get the snake, peacock, and that wild, but I can still use investigation cards. I can still use items.
I got some stuff.
So I will have to push towards this. I'm going to see if there's any cards that have multiple symbols.
Yep.
So that would give me 2 using a wild. I need owls and lions. That's just a wild. No.
Wow, I
No.
don't
Oh boy.
think that's
Oh
an
boy.
option.
Wow.
Woo.
Gulp. Okay.
Well, that's interesting.
Oh man. Okay. Well,
Those
the
are
Book
wild,
of
right?
Spells gives me 2.
Okay.
That's a start. The knife gives me 3.
The lion.
Oh yes, the lion.
Lion,
It is
yeah.
a lion. Okay, that gives me 4. So I just need one more
need one.
then.
Yeah, you can do it. I might have to burn a card, a good one.
It might have to be a confidence because it doesn't look like any of the smaller. Oh, I could use this one.
Yeah.
It does have the wild symbol. I think that's the weakest card I have in here.
I think that's the best way to go.
It's
Everything else has
wilds,
lots of
but
symbols.
got to do it.
Yep.
Okay. I'll throw that
Yep.
there to sort later. So I succeeded. I gain an action die. Whew. That was a tough way to go, but got there. All right, over to you.
Okay, so owls are not gonna happen.
I'm gonna remind you because you remind
I
me.
know.
Yeah.
I always forget. I'm like, ruh-roh. Oh, what's
Not that I want to wish bad things on you because this is a co-op game.
all right? Let's see.
Good luck.
Thanks. Okay.
Not a bad thing.
So it's not bad.
That's a good thing.
It's just not helping me
It
right
doesn't help,
now.
but it doesn't
but-
hurt like mine did.
So now, right now, I'm looking at. Oh boy, that's rough. Well, I have a line, so that's 1.
Yep.
I have my wild, that's 2.
Yep.
I have 2 wilds, which would be 3.
That would be
4, excuse me, sorry.
So
I was
you just
looking
need
at
1
3.
more.
Okay. Ugh, that's just poo-poo. Now I gotta see. I just feel like it's such a waste. Yeah.
That's what we have them for, though, right?
Well, I would use this one. Because I have lots of those.
Okay.
And that's really the only one with the least amount of symbols.
Sounds good. So that gets you to the 5. You get an action die.
Thank goodness.
All right. So now we are within the possibility of rolling 5 successes, but not likely with 6 dice when each one only has a 33% chance of getting a success. So would you like to push on to another challenge?
I think we should.
I certainly would, because the first one was so fun.
Oh, yay.
Next is soothing words. Only needs 4. Unnerving images well up. You must calm your companions. A fail, all discard 1 confidence, which it's not horrible.
Oh, don't forget these.
Sorry? Yes, those will refresh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Might as well do
the
that.
items refresh in between each challenge.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
So fail is everybody discards confidence. Success, you gain an action die and lower the dread by 1.
Okay.
So that's
Something.
great, and we only need 4. Shall I take the lead?
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
All right.
I'll let you go first.
This one. Yay!
Okay, it looks useful.
The Good Catholic is actually good this
Very
time.
useful.
It provides a dove and a peacock, the 2 symbols that are needed, so that's 2, and that's 2 wild, making 4. That's a success.
Very nice.
Gain an action die.
Done.
Lower dread by 1.
That was pretty
I like it.
straightforward.
Over to you.
All right, well, I guess I have to pull a card. Come on, get in there. I swear, it's so much harder doing less cards. All right. 6 cents.
Doesn't help, doesn't hurt. That's
Exactly.
okay. Yep.
But I do have dove and a wild.
Yep.
That's 2. And then I have 2 wilds.
Done.
That's 4.
So you get a die.
Yep. Thank you.
And down by 1. Okay, refresh your items. Would you like to push on?
Might as well.
Absolutely. Next we have Visions of Madness. A nightmarish tangle of tubes and gears manifests before you. This needs 6 to succeed.
Looks tough.
Needs snakes, owls, and tech. Fail, you are unhinged. No rolling. It's just, you're unhinged. That's it.
Oh.
Success, gain an action die. All right.
All righty, Roo.
Hopefully I don't lose my snakes.
Yeah, that would not be good.
This one. Good Catholic again.
Okay.
And doesn't help at all, but that's fine. At this point, just not hurting is a win for me.
Absolutely.
So I need 6. I've got snake and wild, that's 2. And 2 is 4. 1 is 5. And I'll have to use a card.
Oh, to make it from the last one.
And that's that one that only has 1 snake. That makes 6. I
Perfect.
don't mind getting rid of that. That's a success. Gain an action die.
Okay. My turn. Oh boy. I'm gonna close my eyes. All right, let's do that. Oh no!
Oh, here we go. Dark Night of the Soul.
Unbelievable.
Here we go.
You provide nothing. Roll the trauma die. Well, we all know how this is gonna go.
That is the best case scenario.
Yeah.
1 dread. That
True.
could be so much worse. 1 dread and 2 dread at this point. That's great.
Yeah.
That feels
Okay.
like a picnic.
Yeah, but
Now you still need to resolve the
Correct,
card
which is
without
gonna
providing
be-
anything from your base.
Yeah, so I think we might be using some of these. So first, let's start off with 2 wild.
Yep.
That helped.
Oh, and you have the 2 tech.
Oh, and I have the 2 tech, so that's true. So that's 4.
You just need 2 more.
Well, I might as well see if I can find something that has both symbols on it. Oh, that would work actually. Let's just make sure I've got nothing else. Yeah, I'll use that.
Okay.
That has 1 of each.
Excellent. That gets you to the 6. You
Yep.
get another trauma die, or another
Yeah.
trauma die.
No, we don't want another trauma
No.
die.
Another action die. Now again, because this is 2 players, normally you would stop. If it was a 4-player game, you would only get the 3 challenges and you would have to go from there. But if you had 4 players, you would have more dice around the table. So with 2 players, we get to push on if we wish and do the last 3 challenges. If you didn't want to push on, and again, these are individual decisions. Say Mandi didn't want to push on, or let's say I didn't want to because I'm injured. You know, I do have the safety net of the tarot deck.
Yeah.
But let's say Mandi didn't have that, and I didn't want to push it and risk being out of the game. I would then just remove my medallion, and Mandi would then push on by herself if she wanted to, and she could keep going. Right. But we do have that safety net, so this is a good thing. We will push on. Endure the pain. Well, that looks fun.
Oh, boy.
The pain intensifies. You must... All right.
Oh.
You must resist the urge to give up. Fail. Oh. Fail. You are injured.
Oh.
I'm already injured.
It's not good for you.
That would be game over, and that doesn't help me.
No, it does not.
Because that's flipping a trauma card, which I did not do. So that safety net does not help here. I need to burn all of these cards.
I would.
If it comes down to. Because I can't fail that.
Pretty much. No pressure.
I fail that, game's over for me. Mandi's then trying to
On
do
my
it
own.
herself with 5 dice right now, trying to get 5 successes.
Yeah, that wouldn't happen.
Okay.
Mandi's ability would stop the damage or no? This is the one we were just talking about. It says the characters at your location may ignore a trauma just flipped.
Yeah, so that would be
Yeah.
the trauma from here.
Right.
This is not a trauma card, this is a challenge card. So that is not going to help this. This, I just need to resolve it. I need to succeed.
It would be great if we could, but no.
This one.
However,
my lost sister.
as you were explaining, this is applicable.
That's true.
Yes. So actually that question was timed very well.
Yeah. So that won't help with this card.
But it will help with that.
But it will help with this. And I think that's, yeah, it must be done. So it lets me, and this isn't just used, that is discard.
Oh, this is the discard.
So
it's the bottom one. That's right.
the safety net is even gone.
Yes, it was a roll up, the re-roll. So now that we've used that bottom portion, it is bye.
So the wording on that was?
For the deplete, a character at your location may ignore a trauma just flipped and play his or her talent instead.
His or her talent. So I guess I just take another from these, because I think these are the talents. I've never done this before.
Oh yeah, that's a new one.
Yeah.
Did you want us to do a quick check?
Sure. Because the flip trauma would be that.
Are these are...
No.
Yep.
Or maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just use that instead. Actually, you know what? That would make sense.
I see a yes.
That would make sense.
That to me would be this.
Yep.
Yes.
That
Because
makes
you
sense to
weren't
me.
able to use them because
Yeah,
of
so
that.
it's
So
ignore
I
that.
believe it's
I
that.
can still do that.
Yes.
I don't get any of the benefit of these, but
Needs of
I
the one, I'm
don't.
assuming that's what you're referring to because that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I still have these to use, which really, it's just the wilds, but that's
right.
one.
But it's something.
Okay, so 1, 3, 4. I need one more. Okay, that's doable.
Okay, that's good. At least we have something.
Our safety net is gone, but still in the game. These are all good cards now, so I will not use one that has a wild on it. I'll use this one. So it actually has 2 of them that are on that card, so I have more than enough for that. So that's gone.
Perfect.
And the success is I'm still playing, so that's good, and I get an action die. Okay, over to you.
All right, do a little shuffle.
Can I make this a legacy game and just
Rip them up. You never have to see this card ever again. Ugh. So I need my own like shuffler thing. Wait, I can do it. All right.
I'm sitting right here.
I know. All right. Dun dun dun.
Yay, it's
At least
not a bad one.
It's got
And it's helpful.
And it's got a
Even
dove.
better. Yep.
So that gives me one dove here, a wild here for 2, a dove here for 3. I do have a wild.
You have 2 wilds.
4, 5.
Done.
Sweet.
Very good.
Beautiful.
Okay, now the question gets a little more serious.
Yes.
Do I push on? The safety net is gone.
Yeah, that's true. There's nothing I can do to help you at this point.
Like
I mean,
I want to say the odds aren't great that I would be knocked out of the game, because I would have a 1 in 6 chance of pulling my trauma card from here. If I did, then there's a 1 in 3 chance that I would roll injured on here. So multiple things need to happen, but if they do,
if you stop now, I could keep going, but
yeah,
it would be a chance.
we're at the point, like I've got,
I mean, if you have the cards to do it.
well, I definitely have the cards, because I've got 5 confidence cards here.
Yeah.
I've got 6 confidence cards, not just investigation cards, actual confidence cards that have the 4 symbols.
Yeah.
Plus I can gain 4 more from this. I wish I could just hand you my item, but
Yeah.
can't. So I could gain 4 confidence from that. That would give me more than enough to do 2 challenges.
So if you think you can handle the challenges, I think go for it. But just bear in mind it'll be bad if we hit any.
I can handle the challenges. I can't handle my lost sister.
Who just keeps becoming
What do I do?
I know. And what do you guys think? Yay or nay? Yay or nay? Go for the gold or quit while we're ahead?
Okay. Let's look at the worst case scenario.
Okay.
Worst case, I'm out.
Right.
You'll get at most 2 more dice. That
Right.
would put you at 8,
Right.
needing 5 successes.
Oh, yeah, that's
that's
a little
rough.
tight. I mean, if I could get 3 successes on 8 dice, that would be fantastic. So it would be it's a chance regardless.
Push once and see. This is a co-op decision, right? This is a co-op game.
I think you should just go for gold. What's
Yeah?
the point in pulling back?
All
I mean,
right.
even if you don't, we all seen how I roll dice. So I could have 1,000,000 dice and it still may not help me. So
So what you're saying is damned if we do, damned if we don't.
Tulsa, always go for it. And needs of the one, go for it. You can do it.
All right.
Oh,
If
so
people are saying go
encouraging.
for it, I'm going for it. And then you're going to say, and you're out, right? Okay, here we go. Encourage, which is what everybody's doing.
That's so
excellent.
appropriate.
There's no turning back now. Someone has to lead the way. Well, it's not me. It's the chat that's leading the way, and
Which
I'm
is
following.
great.
All right. Fail, all discard 1 confidence. Success, gain an action die, and lower the dread by 1.
Okay, which is something.
So at this point, lowering the dread by 1 wouldn't lower the success count yet.
No,
But if the last challenge has the same thing, it could actually put us down to needing 4, which would be great.
Awesome. It's not my fault if it's bad. Yes, hooray for the chat. Chat is awesome. Oh,
Not a
thank
trauma.
goodness I didn't pick a
Woo!
trauma.
Good call, chat. All right. So I know I can get here. What do I need? I need
Two
peacocks and
or
lions.
peacocks
I've
and
got the
lions.
peacock and wild is 2, 4, 5. No problem.
Yeah, and you had the extra one.
Done. Gain an action die.
So. All right.
Whoo.
My go?
Yep.
Oh boy, this should be entertaining.
And
Yes,
we'll
down.
dread by 1.
I don't even know. Get in there. All right. Whew.
Good.
Okay, so 1 line here. The snake's not going to help me. So 1 line there, 2 line, 3 for a wild, 4, 5 for
Done.
this wild.
All right. Yours. All right. Well, I'd ask, but I know what the chat's going to say. Just
Go, do
push
it.
on, right? We've got 1 challenge left.
Might
We
as
could
well.
earn 1 more die each.
Which would be
And
beneficial.
if it's lower dread by 1, we'll actually get down
Yes.
to a lower requirement. So pushing on.
Ooh,
We've got
big one.
rats. Need 6, but that's okay. Well, that's not
Yep.
the worrisome part. Drawn by the smell of blood, rats scurry from the walls. Fail, you roll trauma. Well, fail's not an option. Rolling trauma is not good. Success, gain an action die, and lower the dread by 1,
so
which
this
would
will
lower the
be
requirement.
great.
Just need to get past this. All right.
Why the guy?
You did well before.
Yeah, I don't have a good feeling about that one.
Yes, daring. Unlike thinking, action will overcome fear. Yes, it will.
However, it doesn't help you one iota.
That's okay, because I've got so many cards here, it's not
true.
a problem. So I need bulls, snakes, and guns. 1, 2, 3, 4, wild 5, and that. No problem.
More than enough.
More than enough. Yep. Done. Woohoo! Action die. And lowered by 1, which still needs 5, but lower it once more, and we're in the clear.
Hopefully. All right, let's see what this personality deck has to offer.
Ooh. Good call, chat.
Oh my
Oh, and there it is. You provide nothing.
Wow.
It's okay. You can survive one of those. It's if you take a second.
Right.
So
that's fine. So I can't use anything here.
Yep.
Not a
but
problem.
you've got a lot of cards.
Exactly.
You've got wild.
So I've got a wild for 2. Let's start there.
Before you start there.
Actually, no. First, let's
start here.
Start
Yeah.
here. Oops.
Start with the trauma
I wanted
die.
to skip that trauma
Oh,
die.
actually, this. Ooh. No, you are doing that.
Yeah. Let's just look.
This is a case where trauma is not, or sorry, dread is not the best case scenario, because we don't want it going up.
I don't even.
That's fine. You're unhinged, but really, come on, we already knew that.
Well, that's true. This just confirms it.
Your mind is breaking. You are not going to hold up much longer. If you would ever gain a second unhinged condition, instead, raise dread by 5.
Okay.
If this happens in the end game, do not raise dread. Instead, you are defeated. So, again, you're fine taking 1. If you take the second, that's where you're out of the game. Now, this is actually a better case scenario at this point than increasing dread, because increasing dread puts us out of range
now
with the dropping. But now, as long as you succeed, we'll drop down to needing 4 successes.
Okay, so first, cannot use this. However, I do have the wild for 2.
Okay.
Let's start there. And that's about as far as that's going to go.
Yep.
Now I need to get some
Now
other
you need all the cards. Hopefully you have enough there.
Well, I'm hoping I have something that has both.
If I slide, they're not watching that?
I want to see if I can get them all in one. Oh, yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5.
5. You need 6.
6? Okay.
Should be fine. But yeah, that's a nice card for that one.
It's too bad I don't have another one like that. Hold on. No.
Are you trying to make me nervous? Are you trying to stress me
no,
out here?
No, I have it. I'm trying not to waste it.
It's you don't need the cards beyond this anyway.
That's true.
Yep, that's it.
That'll do her.
Perfect.
And
that is every single action die that we could get.
Throw that over there.
Dread is lowered by 1, which actually puts us down 1 for the successes required at 4, which is fantastic.
Which is very good.
So we get to roll all the dice. This is it. We're going up against the pagan ritual to see if we succeed or not. I'll get those out. Who wants to roll first?
You can go first.
Yeah? All right. Need 4 successes total between the 2 of us.
Oh my goodness.
Done. 5 successes right there.
I don't even have to roll.
You do not. But do it just for, you know,
right.
the proverbial shits and giggles.
If I get 0 on this roll, I will lose it.
It would be typical, but yes. And 3 more.
3 more. So
no
there
problem.
you go.
We got a total of 8. We only needed 4. That, my friends, is a victory.
I exceeded expectations. What can I say?
So I'll pass the mic over to our narrator.
The ritual. Victory. As you manage to maintain the chant, strange phenomena begin to occur. Images from your past come alive, intertwining with the hectic events of the last 24 hours. In a state halfway between sleeping and walking, your visions grow ever more vivid until they merge into a unified apparition, almost tangibly manifesting in the middle of your small circle. You discern a caped figure moving through the city's smoggy alleyways. His face is hidden, but his gloved fist clenches a surgeon's blade sticky with blood. It's the caped killer, dreaded in London's every nook and cranny. Once again, he is on the move. Mr. Reynard was the first victim of a new spree. Unless you take action, there will be more blood. Whoever sent you that letter was right. Time is most certainly essence.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, look at that.
There you go. So now you could advance to one of the other stories after that.
All right, so let's...
And that is London Dredd.
So London Dredd. So
We
that...
made it.
I think
We made it.
Yahoo! Is that the first time we've actually won? Because I know we've played this a few times.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time.
I'm still traumatized from the last one because it's 8 dice and you got 0. How is that possible?
I'm sorry. Which leads us to a good point.
Yes.
I mean,
so one of the things that I have said about this game each time is it's exciting, but you go through playing, what are we at now? We're almost at 2 hours, well, minus the explanation at the beginning. So let's say an hour and a half of playing, and then it just comes down to rolling dice. You know, it's you put in this time and investment in emotional and time-wise investment into the game, and then it's just, do I win or do I lose?
Right.
Not entirely big on that, but the game as a whole is enjoyable. You saw me stress out, you saw me laugh, you saw me cry. So obviously there's an enjoyable game.
And Rapunzel, who to the raw?
Yes, who to the raw.
But yeah, that to me, I mean, listen, anybody who knows me, as there's a few in the chat who do, I mean, I knew with dice, I'm like, it's not going to be good. So, I mean, that just doesn't, as a player, you're like...
That's why you bring me in, right?
Exactly.
A, to stress me out because you enjoy that, and B, because you need somebody to roll dice.
But you're leaving it to chance, right? It's
Yeah,
random. And,
exactly.
and that's, I feel that you have a level of disappointment because you've worked so hard to collect, all the items you need to make a strong case for yourself. And when we get to the end, it's not even based on how hard you've worked. It's like,
No.
Okay, well, yes, you can collect the dice.
It's
now
just
roll them.
unlucky and game over, you've lost, yeah.
Right. So that to me was, I found a bit of an issue.
I do like the tension of, if I roll this a second time, there's the potential I may be out of the game.
Right.
That I'm fine with because
good.
that's something I can control. It's just maybe I don't push because
Right.
I've got enough dice that if I lose those, it would be game over. So I want to hold on to them. So that's something I can control. But the end game of this, if we got it, or if we needed more, that we're kind of controlling based on our initial play. But yeah, the random at the end.
I think that was the killer for us. And then there was some discussion about the rule book. I know for myself, I had a difficult time when we were doing the first playthrough navigating the rule book. Now, these are things I've mentioned already to the publisher. So Grey Fox is aware, and they will be making some adjustments to the rule book and potentially to the end of the game, how that plays out. I don't know what it is yet, but that's something that potentially could be in the works. So look for that coming soon. Yep. I'm not a person who generally likes programming games, planning type games. I don't know, lately I've been playing a lot of them. Colt Express is another one that I played, the app, and I really like it. But I like the timed planning, which is odd because real-time games really throw me for a loop. But I liked it here, and I liked it when we did Millennium Blades is another one that I enjoed, the timed planning stage.
The real time. I really do think
strange.
You just like to see me stressing out. That's what it is.
It's this Simfire. I always fail the dice rolls. No, legitimately, this is the first time that we've
0 for 8. 0 for 8.
Let's just say thank goodness I didn't have to roll. But overall, the mechanics of the game. I mean, I like the theme.
Yep.
Theme of the game is really
love
cool,
the theme.
and I knew that you would like that when we were talking about it.
Yep.
It's a real-time game. I mean, we played I guess you call it the intro, the beginning scenario, and there are others, and I'm sure increase the difficulty.
Yeah. So what we just played is the first scenario, the first story called The Letter, and it is meant as the introductory game. Anything beyond this actually plays 2 chapters. So you only saw 1 chapter, and if we played 2, time would have run a little long for it. But you actually do set up the second chapter, and you go through the city a second time, a second set of 12 minutes, and do the whole programming thing again. So keep that in mind. Beyond that first story, it is going to get longer and probably more difficult because Dredd will go up twice at that point. But I just remember the first play, I was enjoying the game, and then we got to the end, and it was just, that's it. It just comes down to a die roll. But everything else I quite enjoyed. I did enjoy going through the whole thing. So Mandi was mentioning the rule book. I know the very first printing of the rule book, there was a page that was, or at least a section of the page that I think was left blank by mistake. They have since fixed that.
Right.
But there are still a couple things in the rulebook. For example, at the end, and I keep forgetting to flip a personality card when resolving each of the challenges. And I remember I was going through the rulebook thinking, well, why did I miss that? It's actually not listed in the steps of resolving the challenge card, but it's in the example. So when I go through, it's like, well, what did I forget? I actually look at what are the steps. I'm not going to look at the examples again. It's this, 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 this. They don't mention this in it. But if you look through the example, they show somebody pulling that card in the example. So that should be listed in there. So there's still a couple things, but you were saying they're still going to revise that again.
They're looking at tweaking that, revising that, and revising that. And so, yeah. But I think that's generally overall, I think we liked it. There were just those couple things that we mentioned. I mean, you've got replayability with the different scenarios. And
I'm sure they must be coming out with more. There's 4 in the box.
Yeah, it's not confirmed. I'm assuming something else will be coming out. I know at Gen Con they had alluded to some changes, so that potentially could be one.
But even if there weren't more stories to play, because all of this is randomly set up each time, sure, you know what the storyline is,
but you don't know how
the game's going to play different every time.
Right.
So that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Yeah. So I think overall we liked it. With the exception of a couple of things there, but like we said, they're looking into it. So yeah, definitely a game that I would play again. I mean, we've played it several times, but you know what I mean.
Played it a few times.
I would play it
and
more
I'm still
than
stressed
those
every single
times.
time. I don't know. You stick a clock. Like, I love planning. I love having.
Which is weird because I don't like the planning.
But you stick a clock on it, and no, that's just stress to me.
See, and I like it. Maybe just because I'm a procrastinator
in a good way.
Gets the work done.
I say
faster.
I'm freaking out, but in a good way.
So I enjoyed it, and I would, definitely a game that I would, just kind of not stick in the back of the closet and be like, hey, we're done with that. Like, I would play it. I would pull it out and play it, and I'd be curious to see it with.
We haven't done it with 4 yet.
No, and that's the thing. Like, I think with 4 it would be like chaos.
That would be hectic. That would be me freaking out.
Yeah, that'd be chaos.
Yeah, and that's where you would actually need to use those tokens properly. We were using just the green ones to mark the cards we visited, but with 4 players, you need to make sure you're marking cards that you're doing, because you can't discuss among 4 people what everybody is doing in 12 minutes. It's just not enough time. So you're kind of doing your own thing, and maybe working with 1 or 2 other people to say, okay, I'm going to be at this plot card at 2 a.m. I need at least 1 more person to come and join me there.
That's right.
But it would be interesting and hectic to do with 4 people.
Rapunzel, head-smacking goodness, Paul.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So there you have it. So that's London Dredd. I hope you all enjoyed that. Next week, we don't know. Well, we do know.
Oh, we know.
Okay. So,
we know.
Yeah. Did you want to announce that?
Sure. Next week, we're going to do Triplock, which was recently on Kickstarter. This is a very quick turnaround from the team at Chip Theory Games. One of our past live streams was their big box game, heavy big box game, Too Many Bones, which I absolutely adore.
It's quite
fantastic components and wonderful game. So yeah, we're going to be doing their next game next week, Triplock.
Yeah, so it is a shorter game. So after Gen Con, we're trying to get back into the groove of things so we can kind of pick up on a heavier game, but we need time to do a playthrough. So we're potentially going to be alternating between lighter and heavier just so we can prepare properly for the big games and get the rules correct.
And I'd still like to kind of, if we can, flip between co-op and competitive.
Right. So and if
we'll
there's...
We'll see. But yeah, we're trying to get back into the swing of things with the 3 weeks now that
I know.
had off,
It's been crazy, and I'll be traveling more, so we'll see how that goes. But if you have any questions or you would like to suggest a game that you'd like us to play, if we have it available, you can reach me at the number 2, die4games@gmail.com.
And you can reach me at Pawlom21, PAWLOM 21@gmail.com.
And repeat, if you want to find me on any social media, I'm on Instagram, Board Gaming Pinup Girl, Twitter, Board Gamer Pinup Girl. I'm on YouTube, To Die For Games, and I'm also on the Dice Tower podcast every 2 weeks. So our next episode, I think, will be the 5th. Tulsa. So review and plays of all your Gen Con pickups soon, live on Twitch. Oh, we'd be here for days.
We'll start picking through them.
But just so you know, Triplock was on the list.
Yeah.
So that's one of many.
I'm still waiting for my copy. I did actually back the Kickstarter, and I got the deluxe mat, and basically I went all in again. I went all in on Too Many Bones, and I went all in on Triplock. much lower coin count, if you will, to get Triplock, because it is a smaller box game. But yeah, I love their work. They do fantastic work with their quality of components. So yeah, so I can be reached at Instagram as Pawlom, Pawlom. Twitter is Pawlom21, and here every Monday night 8 o'clock. Also, these videos get uploaded to the To Die For Games channel, and you can leave comments there.
Yes. So I think we've covered it all.
Yep.
Next week, Triplock. And I think that's it.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks so much for joining us. It's been a bit of a pause, but we're back on track.
And thanks for pushing me through those challenge cards. I was very nervous about that. Appreciate the help.
Perfect.
All right.
We'll see you all next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.